All right, so I've been sick for the last week, and I think I've learned two things. Vitamin C doesn't do crap, and that I've finally discovered the perfect guitar lesson, all right? So we're going to do something here. It's going to be 4 chords, and each of these chords is going to have a 2-part mini lesson inside of it. And we're going to put them all together. It's going to sound musical, and it's going to sound like this. So we've got 4 chords. Like I said, this is all going to be in what I'm thinking of the key of F major, okay? So the chord progression is going to be D minor, A minor, C major, F major. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to number these chords, okay? There's 7 notes in a scale. F, like F major, is going to be F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, okay? So this is going to be D minor first, F, G, A, B, C, D, 6 to A minor, F, G, A, 3, so 6, 3, F, G, A, B, C, 5, 1, okay? 6, 3, 5, 1. But that's just part of it. We're going to slow this down and really take each one of these chords and talk a little bit about what makes it special in that key and some cool stuff you can do. So, starting on the D minor chord. I've got open on the D string, 2 on the G string with my middle finger, 3 on the B string with my pointer or my pinky finger, and then 1 on the high E string with my pointer finger, okay? Now, optionally, you can use your ring finger for the B string if you want. I'm using my pinky, why not? But the thing that's most important for this particular part is that your middle finger is going to be on the G string, because eventually we're going to take this and we're going to bring it all the way down here. Okay, so we're talking about 2 different voicings of D minor. A D minor chord is any way you combine a D note plus an F note plus an A note. Right? This one in particular is a D, open D. 2 on the G string is an A. 3 on the B string is a D. 1 on the high string is an F. Okay? Now, you can do another one right here. It's just the 10th fret, highest 3 strings. Now, the cool thing about this voicing is we can really just take part of it to make it sound cooler, all right? I'm just getting the outside of that little second voicing that we did. And because my middle finger is already on the G string, I can track it all the way to the 10th fret. So a couple different ways to do this. I just kind of picked through it. All right, you can do it that way. You can do whatever you want to do, but there's so much efficiency in practicing something musically where you're doing a couple different things, which is why I really love this exercise, because we're doing, like I said, 4 chords, 2 kind of ideas. The first idea here is like a picking through, almost like an arpeggiated. I've got that pull off, where I pull off on the high string. And then after that, as soon as I get that pull off, I'm going to go back to that G string and I'm going to slide it all the way to the 10th fret, okay? So we're thinking of here to here. And again, my best advice for doing something like this isn't looking at your fretting hand and then kind of like following it, because then you might be like, all right, I'm getting close, is it 9, is it, what is it? Oh, there it is, there's 10. If you focus on the 10th fret, your hand will actually hit the 10th fret literally every time. So don't look at your hand, look at the 10th fret, and then it'll always just naturally stop. If you've been, even if you've never practiced past the 5th fret before, trust me, just looking at it when you do it, your hand just has a way. Your hand and your brain, they know what's going on. Unlike big vitamin C lobby, which vitamin C doesn't do anything, guys. Not medical advice, but I've taken so much vitamin C, and I can tell you, have not, it hasn't moved the needle for me. But I promise you, this one is going to help a lot, because you're just thinking of 2 different spots, and then eventually it'll sound cool when you put it together, right? So. Okay, that's going to lead us into the next chord, which again was the 3 chord in this key, F, G, A. 3 chord is minor in any key, A minor, all right? So again, D minor, kind of 2 positions into A minor. Now I want to go into here You don't have to play this with the bar chord. This is going to be like no bar chords necessary for any of the parts that we're doing. But sometimes it does make it easier to just kind of think of the bar chord shape. Now, I think in the earlier way that I played it like a minor 7 chord, which is just the 5th fret. How easy is that, guys? Again, I'm skipping the A string, meaning I'm grabbing the 5th fret on the E string with my middle finger, skip the A string, and then I'm just aiming for really the D and the G string. So again, if you lay your ring finger down across all of them, that's an A minor 7, but again, this is kind of like a bar chord, right? I just said there were no bar chords. So to keep my word, like that, unlike Zycam saying that it'll shorten your cold remedies just by taking a little bit of zinc, we're just gonna take this minor 7 chord voicing where it's your ring finger and your pinky right next to each other. Okay, so think of this as like the next area that we're going to. D minor, part 2, A minor. Now, the cool thing about A minor is in any minor position in any key, no matter what key you're in, again, there are 3 of them, the 2, 3, and 6 positions in any key will give you a minor chord, or, more importantly for the part of this lesson, a spot to use the minor pentatonic scale. Okay? So if that didn't make sense, check out the Patreon because I've got more lessons on that. But let's talk about just the A minor pentatonic scale. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay? That scale exists in a couple different keys, where A is the 2nd note, where A is the 3rd note, and A is the 6th note. This key just happens to be the 3rd note. So all that's fair game. Now what I want to do is I want to take that information and then use another technique, just like we did with like the pull off and the slide for the first time. Let's do a double stop where you play 2 notes or 2 strings at the same time, right? That's the perfect thing about minor pentatonic stuff, is because the left side of your hand is always going to be the same fret, the 5th fret, right? So you can kind of do those little like, if I've got the D and the G string 5th fret together, I can get that hammer on 5 to 7 on the D string, and then do the same thing A and D string, D and G, A and D. Okay, so see, I did that, I just kind of went. I did a hammer on first, 5 to 7 on the A string, then the D and G string, hammer on, off, A and D string, hammer on, off. All right, so you get to the root note, announce the chord like that, and then, okay? So let's 2 parts. The first part, announcing the chord, being an A minor chord, and then the second part being a little hammer-on flourish that sounds really cool that comes from the minor pentatonic scale. So back to back, D minor, okay, so the next part is going to be the 5 chord in the key. What's the 5 chord in the key of F? F, G, A, B flat, C, okay? Now, before we jump into this, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. It is Enya Guitars. I'm rocking the Enya Inspire today. The coolest thing about this guitar, other than it looking so good, is I can unplug this from my amp, and then I can still actually have sound from the speaker by pressing this button and holding it, and then it turns on the actual effects that are built into the speaker. So, this is actually what I was playing in my sickness, because I could just keep it by my bed and not have to use an amp. And again, you can kind of cycle through the amps just by pressing the button. Clean. Or actually just like, that's a crunchier. It's like a more distorted. So there's a lot of different like functionality that you can get. There is an app that you can use to make your own effects, then just have 4 of them saved. It's an awesome guitar. Plus, I like honestly, it sounds just as good as any of my other guitars when it's plugged into the amp. So also, if you have the button on right here, it'll send the effect through the amp too, which is super cool, right? But we're just gonna turn that off. We're gonna go back to clean things. So if you guys are interested, get yourself an any guitar. I'll have an affiliate link in the description. These things are going on sale for the Black Friday special, so check it out. All right, back to the lesson. We're gonna go to the 5 chord, C major. But what I wanna do is I wanna take a different voicing. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. Looks like this. Okay, so it's just 8 on the E string, 7 on the A string, and then 8 on the D string. So this is what's called a shell voicing of a C7 chord. We have the root note, the major third, and the flat 7, minor 7, which is what makes it a dominant 7 chord, okay? So this is a voicing, first and foremost. The reason it's called a shell voicing is because we don't have the 5th, you don't have a G in this chord, so it's not technically a full C7 chord like maybe you've seen before like this. It's just a little different, different location, which kind of opens up some different possibilities of what we can do. Now the second thing that we're going to attach to this position for the 5th position in this key is do something modal, okay? So if you've ever heard of the modes, basically it's just a different way of saying that there are 7 notes in a scale. Each one of those notes locations has something special about it, right? So this would be the 5th note in the key of F, right? F, G, A, B flat, C. I don't know why I started counting with my thumb first. Sickness is still kind of lingering, guys, just in case you're wondering. But the interesting thing about this would be, like I said, the 5th mode, the Mixolydian mode. It has its own scale position that goes with it. So let's focus on what makes this position special. And what makes it special is that it's a major chord. So it has a major third right there. If you go down a string and back a fret, that makes it a major class chord. But what's different about this one is it has, like I said, that minor 7, okay? So if I go through and play the notes in the key of F, starting on a C, I'd get a C, a D, E, F, G, A, B flat instead of a B natural, like the key of C, and then C again. Okay, so what's interesting is if I just omit the 10th fret here, again, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10 are all the notes. If I just say on the left side of my hand, I've got 8, 7, 8, and 7, 8. Okay, so. A really easy thing to practice if you just want to practice your picking, maybe like a down, up, 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 or just all down strokes to maybe work on your speed. Because it's so easy, because it's just like 2 frets, right? Now what we're gonna do is we're going to play through that chord, but then we're gonna use the other notes around it, okay? So remember, the chord is 8, 7, 8. So we're gonna pick through it, go back to 7D, and then 8A. Okay, so that's kind of like a very interesting selection of notes that we only really have available in this modal position. And then we're gonna slide it to the 1 chord F, okay? So again, we're gonna, and then backslide, we're gonna end up on the 1st fret, okay? So again, there's the chord. I'm adding some vibrato. That's why I like this chord voicing a little bit better than this chord voicing. I've found the open chord voicings closer to the open to 3 frets that you probably are super familiar with. They're a little harder to add vibrato on because you end up shaking the neck. But if you're down here, you can kind of like lean the body of the guitar into you and kind of milk that a little bit more, which again, you can still do it up here, but it just feels better in the middle of the neck. So again, there's the chord, C7. And then I'm getting, going through the chord, 7, D, 8, slide, F. Okay? Now, then we're gonna go to the 1 chord and do an arpeggio. So to recap, and then we'll go to the F, D minor, pull off, slide into the next voicing, minor, double stop through the minor pentatonic scale, C7, modal riff, F, chord, and then a full arpeggio, or just kind of like a very linear arpeggio. All right, and arpeggios where you play a chord 1 note at a time, like we did on that D minor. Okay, that's kind of like your typical like up and down arpeggio. This is more of a neck fretboard spanning arpeggio. Okay, so the difference there is I get the first fret, there's my root note, I'm on the 1 chord, finally made it home, and then I'm gonna just kind of slap the rest of that chord. I'm going in the middle right here, 3A, 3D, 2G, 1B. The meat and potatoes of that F major 7, if you get that high E string in there, if you want. I'm just getting the middle 4 strings. Again, root note, middle 4, and then my favorite major arpeggio. Super easy to do, sounds more impressive than it actually is. You start on a root note, you go 2 frets higher, maybe it's a hammer-on, maybe it's a pick, whatever you want to work on, that's cool. Hammer on 2 more frets. So 1, 3, 5, F, G, A. And again, when you end with your ring finger, your pointer finger lines up on the C note, the 3rd fret of the A string. Again, just down a string, back 2 frets. That's outlining a major chord. And then you go straight down, there's the octave, 3D, and do the exact same thing. 3, 5, 7, lines your pointer finger up with the 5th fret. Close it with the F on the B string, 6th fret. Okay? So, F. All right, so 4 different chords, 4 different locations, 2 different ideas per chord. That's efficient practice, guys. Come on, let's go. D minor, A minor, pentatonic, C7, Mixolydian mode, F, arpeggio. Now you'll notice I'm kind of transitioning by dragging these notes back with me to get to the next one. Like for instance, that F arpeggio. Okay, so sliding back. Great thing about D minor is that open D is kind of meeting me there. Right? You don't have to play it exactly how I'm showing it. The most important thing is that you're thinking, okay, you know, I see a D minor chord. It doesn't have to just be this. Maybe it could be this. Maybe it could be this. There's so many different chord voicings, and once you understand the chord voicings and how to connect them, your playing gets so much better, I promise you. And then you'll be more inspired with your Enya-inspired guitar to maybe explore and do a little bit more each. But once you understand where these things are located, that's half the battle, right? Getting the dexterity and having your pick be able to hit the right strings and stuff, that's where like the muscle memory comes in. But it's so much easier to work on like your muscle memory and your alternate picking and all that stuff when you don't have to use your mental power to be like, okay, what is this part again? It's like, okay, you know where that part's coming from, whether it's minor 7 and the minor pentatonic scale, or if it's coming from like 2 chord voicings, or if it's, oh, C7. I know that, or C7. And again, all that just, you know, comes from just a little bit of information, adding it to something you already know. Like you probably already knew D minor, A minor, C major, F major. But now combine these 2 ideas. What was next? C. F. So there we go. Guys, take your zinc and magnesium and vitamin C. I was getting those, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's actually educated in any kind of health services out there. I was taking those emergency packs. And I was on it early, guys. Let it be known, I was on it early. First signs, I was like, I got this. I'm going to blast this out. Didn't do a thing. But here we are. I'm feeling better. I have an Enya guitar in my hands. You guys have watched to the end, and you've commented and liked the video, subscribed, shared it with your friends, signed up for my Patreon, bought an Enya guitar. Really appreciate it, guys. So keep it up. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon.